My name is Heather Feather. I'm the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about lone wolf medicine. Certainly, wolves are part of a pack, and there is this concept where a wolf might become excluded from the pack, and then that becomes a lone wolf, a wild, feral wolf that doesn't have that support of the pack based on the pack's decision to exclude that wolf. I am more and more aware every year of my life that there is tremendous virtue and not always surrounding the self with pack. Now, there are a lot of things that I would place in that under that term pack, because one of the ways that two-leggeds run from facing the self, loving the self, knowing the self, being centered in the self, honoring the self, being a steward of the self, and being willing to do that because we've done the shadow work, we've sat in that trauma, pain, suffering, growth, evolution edge that we each individually face. If you're in a flesh costume, you got work to do. So when we run from the self, there are many ways we can do that. And one of them can be literally with your pack, with your tribe. You maintain a wide variety of consistent social hours so that you never really have a large gap in which you would be alone with yourself. Sitting in, like, being with the self, being lovable enough to worthy enough of your own undivided attention, being comfortable to be your own company. This also can occur by going from relationship to relationship to relationship. I've had several girlfriends talk to me about how, like, I've never really gone through a period where I wasn't in a relationship. I've been well blessed. Not historically what I would have said, but I've been well blessed to have large gaps of non-dating and no option but to be alone with self, because I tend to be more of a small, intimate group type of gal. And so I've gone through periods where I'm not really doing socialization or filling up my time with a lot of social hour, and there's no romantic relationship garnering my attention. So therefore, I'm spending a lot of time and attention with the self, looking at the self, reflecting, considering what is mine, considering what belongs to others, stepping into my own evolution and growth edge. And not only that, but stepping into my own friendship with myself, acknowledgement of myself, acknowledgement of what is it that works for me? What is it that doesn't work for me? These are things people have pointed out to me regarding the concept of relationship. It's like, know your core values, know what works and doesn't work. And most of my life, it's been like, I don't have any core values. Like, I'll just take whatever I get, thanks. And played a lot of martyr role and have done a lot of unhealthy, dysfunctional things, because just because you let everyone in the garden of your life, just because you have no boundaries, just because you are a giver, does not mean you're healthy. I call that toxic femininity. It's where you have an overdeveloped ability to be outward focused. And if you don't have the ability to include in the balance of life inward focus, inward reflection, inward consideration, inward self-respect, boundaries, lines, what you will and will not allow in the garden of your life, it is likely that you are experiencing what I call toxic femininity, but what I would say is an out of balanceness with the inner and outer worlds. And you're in your inner world every breath you're going to take, so that sounds important. So lone wolf medicine to me is about looking at these ways in which we fill our time and our attention with all the things that will distract the self from being alone. One way we can do that is by constantly maintaining a social schedule that doesn't ever cause you to really spend undivided time and attention alone with the self. Another way you can do that is by jumping from romantic relationship to romantic relationship, never really taking time to assimilate and process being with the self. Another way that you can do that is by doing lots of drugs, lots of alcohol, lots of drinking, lots of cigarette smoking, lots of all of those things. I will never vilify. I've experienced all of them. They are ways that we emotionally avoid, a way that we can disconnect or suppress our emotional state. And your emotional state is not bad. It is the variant place you find yourself in. So that's okay for emotions to be overwhelming, and it's okay for two-leggeds to even want to find ways to run away through over socialization, over connection, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. I'm not going to vilify that. I think Emotions can be overwhelming, and it can make sense. But if you are consistently always filling the time and attention with that, then again, you may be having a difficult time working with lone wolf medicine. I think that another way that this shows up is being in constant service to aiding others. So maybe you're not always socializing with people. Maybe you consider yourself more of an introvert. Maybe you are sober or whatever, or you've been single a long time, but you constantly find ways to be a counselor, be in service, be in support to others. And I can say that in my own experience, I've definitely done some of that. and it's good. Be outward focused and inward focused. I mean, shamanic path is finding balance. And I see that as medicine person path. We can call that a lot of different things. Stepping in the love path. And if you are consistently putting your attention on helping others, being there for other people, you can call me if you have a problem. I'll show up for you. I'm willing to suffer so that you may have. Then you may find that you also, in that regard, are running away from yourself because you have a life. You have challenges, situations, issues that require your attention. And we can sometimes get overwhelmed when it is involved that personally. So rather than dealing with whatever is making us feel emotionally out of balance or intellectually out of balance because we're just having obsessive thinking or we're having these troublesome emotions as a result of that or just in general, we can avoid the self and knowing the self by turning our attention constantly to others and being so outward focused and being such an overgiver and constantly extending the self to be an aid that we don't really have to be with our own stuff. Not to be with our own stuff. So my dear friend Magnolia is a psychologist, my neighbor, my beloved, dear best friend here, and teacher and soul sister, all these things. And one of the things she's teaching me through her psychology understandings is the different types of attachment styles. So she was kind enough, she had a really full day. She was about to get on a plane, but she and I got to spend a little time in the courtyard because she's very generous of spirit with her time and attention. And she offered for me to take a quiz on my attachment style. So one of the things that they look at psychologically is your attachment style. And there is, fearful, anxious, and there is like avoidant, and there's like secure, which is we're all trying to get to that secure place. And some people are just always anxious, fearful, and some people are just always avoidant, and some people are just, step more into a secure place a lot. What I learned about myself by taking the quiz is that, bless me, I am fearful avoidant. So what happens is I feel fearful and anxious that things aren't secure typically because I've had a lot of loss and I'm kind of constantly anticipating you're going to die or leave, right? You're going to die or get, drunk and do a bunch of drugs and then be vacant, right? That's what I can expect that. I've had that experience a lot. You're about to die? Okay. Cool. That's what I need is more ghosts. My favorite. Love it. Kind of do actually, but I do love the ghosts. But so I get fearful and anxious. And if I experience someone as being avoidant, being dismissive, or if they have an avoidant attachment style where they dip in and dip out in their connectivity with me, then I will get triggered and it will trigger my avoidant style and I will push them away and I'll get avoidant. I'll be like, oh, you need space? Here, I'm going to go jump on the moon. You go ahead and stay on Earth. How's that for space? I got some intensity in my personality. But I mean, it's an unconscious thing, but I have this personality matrix that says I'm either getting fearful and anxious or avoidant. Now, that's not definitively true every day. It's important for two-leggeds to remember that your best changes every day. So some days I'm more triggered. I'm more activated. Some days I'm perceiving things maybe as avoidant that weren't, or I'm feeling anxious because this feels threatening to my sense of security, this XYZ experience over here. That feels like my past where other people have done that and that has been dangerous for me, So certainly there are many moments of now, for sure, with Heather Feather, where I am standing in security. I'm standing in that secure place in the middle, and I'm not doing avoidant, and I'm not doing fearful. What is mine to do is to know thyself. Know thyself. To thine own self be true. These are two statements My mom used to always say, and before I rebranded Rare Bird Medicine, my business used to be called Know Thyself. And her gravestone says, to thine own self be true. Because she said these things all the time. And some of this is written over the Oracle part of Delphi, is this quote. So we come to know the self by recognizing, by being still with the self, and by recognizing our own patterns, how we're showing up, what cycles are we in, what do we desire, what do we not desire. It's okay to not desire things. I don't desire to have severe crack addict, meth addict, heroin addicts as friends. Doesn't mean I don't pray for their grace. I appreciate that trial and tribulation. A lot of struggle there when we go into such severe ways to avoid the emotions. No doubt you've had trauma. So I can pray for that, but I don't necessarily choose that to be right in my inner circle because I'm not dealing with that. I don't choose for certain personality matrices to be a part of my inner circle because it's part of how I get healthy, is to go like, I don't actually need everybody in the river of my life. Oh, are you a mob boss? I don't need you in the river of my life. I mean, are you a taker? Are you a total taker? Are you completely myopically selfish? Okay, I don't need you in the river of my life. And that's part of how I've gotten healthy. Another part of how I've gotten healthier and healthier as I age and evolve is to take time. Now, granted, my life handed it to me forcibly because it's like, nobody wants to date you right now. Figure yourself out, kiddo. Great, this is fun. Having a pleasant time. No, I don't like romance at all. And I can say the end result of being handed this lengthy paradigm of being alone with myself and lone wolfing it has been a medicine practice. It's been a medicine period because I've been able to get clear about what my core values are, what I will and will not choose to be in the garden of my life. Doesn't mean I can't bless and pray for that which is outside of the garden of my life, but I can be clear about where the fence is, where the boundary is, where the line is of what comes in and what stays out. For my own wellness, my own peace of mind, my own stewardship of self, my own self-care, my own self-respect, my own self-love. And at the same time, while I'm in my inner garden, I can take time to explore myself. Heather Feather has growth edge. She has got some evolution work to do, without question. Every day of my life, there's, well, that could have been, okay. That was an interesting perspective you chose, Heather. Cool. That was really dark and negative. So that's never lost on me. And it's truly not lost on me because there is space, there is time, there is attention, there is consciousness that can be given where I'm not giving my attention to others through social interaction. I'm not pouring everything into a romantic relationship to stay distracted. I'm not always checked out on all these different ways that I can check out from my emotional state. Again, not vilifying any of it, all just ways that we might be running from the self. I'm not in a constant state of overgiving and overservice where my cup gets out of balance due to my own choices. So now what I'm more habituated to is finding time and space to sit with me and all that I be and to consider what my own evolution and growth is in this tree of life that we're living here. So the invitation and invocation to myself today is to remember the value, no matter where I walk and no matter where I head in life, the value of giving myself alone time. Do you give yourself time to be alone? Have you gone from relationship to relationship? Do you go from friendship and social activity to friendship and social activity? Do you fill your time with drugs and alcohol and cigarettes? Do you constantly try to serve and give and pour your cup out? How often in your life do you take undivided attention, time, consciousness, awareness to be with the star player of your movie? To be here. Who am I? What is it I seek? What is it? What kind of life am I trying to create here? What is my vision for my future? Am I living it? Is there anything that needs changing? Is there anything that needs my attention? Certainly, you deserve the most phenomenal life you can possibly live. Go to rarebirdmedicine.com, click on the classes link. We have things coming up at the start of September. We'd love to have you join us. And you can always subscribe on YouTube. Blessed be.